I'm also going to record this. I keep forgetting to damn record these meetings. So I'm recording this too on Skype, so we can definitely, not in Skype, in Zoom, so that other members can view it. Okay, great. So welcome to the call, guys. Thank you for being with me again. So those familiar with the DTB system know what an incredible system it is with all the custom tools. So more information is on the website for those who are not too familiar with it. And the risk disclosures for trading, very important to understand and read. There's a link to it in the video as well as the website. So go and have a look through those details. Let's have a very quick look at the chart. This is a daily chart. So obviously we had that huge drop yesterday and a bit of a run up. Our 5-minute charts, we're going for a nice opening dive again. So this dive that we are seeing over here, you know, we basically had it happening, or it started showing us from 5 a.m., 5, 6, all this time earlier today. We basically had this momentum line below the price and we had these bars of gold. So as soon as these bars of gold, we know that the sellers are in control of price. So we're looking for sell positions in that stage. So it's a very cool thing to have the shadow trading loaded on your chart, because that's definitely going to tell you who is in control of price. And obviously the Fibonacci levels. Now look, we've just gone to the 38.2 and it's literally kissed it and bounced up from there. And we saw that happen live. I mean, that's how incredible these Fibonacci levels are to determine these price movements. I mean, that's a 60, 70 tick move. Now, it may come back down to it, but the initial touch of it was absolutely clear. Okay, YM, we're not going to be looking too much at these, but these are just some of the other instruments that you can look at. ES, same thing with ES. We had the sellers in control this whole time and showing very evident. There's the Russell 2000. Very similar type of thing over there. Look at the Fibonacci level on the Russell 2000, that's 61.8. Now, just as a matter of the coloring for the Fibonacci levels, that very deep pink we were looking at there, that's the daily Fibonacci. So daily Fibonacci on the Russell 2000. So have a look at that. It kept fading off that on the 5 minutes. So taking those bounces as scalping positions would have been absolutely powerful if you were watching that that chart. And even if you were just taking small trades over there, you know, they all would have been spot on. Okay, great. So that is that. Let's switch over to the VPS and see what's going on over there. So this session, what I have actually done is I have gone and done optimization for the period of, what is this, the 21st of August to today. So I put the 25th just because it's during the week, but so putting the 25th will be the end of the week. So what that does is going to optimize the price action right up until current price. So looking at the chart, I ran this just before 9 and I actually applied the settings from the analyzer to the chart. So what this is also doing, if I scroll to the very top, is we're optimizing the time slot between 9 a.m. and 10:55, and we're using that time slot. And we are still not using stops and targets and all of that. We're keeping the setting A between 1 and 40 and the setting B between 1 and 40. For this one, I've used all the repaints as true. So you'll notice that they're all true over there. And for the instrument, I've gone and not used a fixed bar size, but rather a varying bar size. So what that means is I've scrolled down a little bit and I've selected optimized data series. So as soon as you select optimized data series, you're able to put in values in there. So I've chosen between an 8 and an 8 bar size. So the top setting 8, bottom setting 8, but up to a 48. So it's going to optimize 8, 8, 16, 8, 24, 8, you know, and so on all the way to 48 in increments of 8. So that's what this has done. And it's come across that the very best bar size over the last month using these settings has actually been the 40 bar size. So a 40 and an 8. So that's very interesting that the absolute best settings within that range has been 40. So you can also go and increase your bar size, and there might even be higher bar sizes that give, you know, better results. But that's very interesting to realize and see on the charts. And yesterday we had like an 11,000 or so result, but using a 40 bar size, that's actually climbed to 16,000. So a much bigger difference in that. And then looking at the results of that, obviously yesterday had the day before yesterday and yesterday had a huge rise in that. So that's daily. And I've also just gone onto day of week. So I've gone and selected and looked at the different results for the day of week. So that's what I've done over here. And I just chose that first setting on there to use that as today's run. Now, during this session, we're still going to be doing the same thing. So I'm going to be changing the date to today's date, but still optimizing those different bar sizes. And in doing that, we're going to find which bar size is basically the heartbeat of the system for today, and then adjust it accordingly. So we haven't done this. We haven't done this on the calls before, where we're changing bar sizes. So before we've stuck with one very specific bar size for the session, but this session we may change it over depending on what the results are looking like. Okay, so just give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to just switch over to this. Okay, so my strategy had a few zigzag trades over there. I've had hang on, what's happened here? Something's a little bit out of whack over here. Showing paused, but active. It's very odd. Wonder if I haven't had, okay, I don't know what happened there exactly. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to start with that optimization and run it like that. So now obviously running the optimization with today's data is going to give us what bar size is working for today. So I'm going to go to my optimization right now and just pull that up and go and run that. So let me just put this behind. I've got another chart behind which we'll use for the latest session. So let me just get this all together like this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to select today's date on here, which is 20th. It's 21. So what I select, yeah, so 21, and I'm going to make this to 22. So 21 to 22, and then run the optimization on that. So you'll notice that it's doing the optimization of all, it's doing the repaints, all of them. And this should not take long at all. So we're just going to monitor what that's going to be doing. And if it does take too long, we'll just have to maybe change it during the session. We want to make sure that this runs in under a minute, especially during this session. And while that's running, we can have a look at, okay, before we look change anything, let's just see what this one says. So around that Fibonacci level, probably not a very good place to get that started. We've gone up to the 38.2 right now. That would be the next point. Okay. So right now it's telling us that the 24. So look at the chart at the results from the optimizer. So I'll maximize this a little bit. So notice how it's saying that the 24 bar size with an 8 baselining tick. So if you scroll down to the right over here, you're going to see this is where the bar size is put in place. So it's optimizing between the 8 and the 48. And I'll just minimize that so it's not confusing. So it's telling us that the 24 bar size is the best at this very stage. So that's showing the highest results. So I can go like this. I can go template and I can go save. And I'm going to save this as 21. And I'm going to call this trading chart just like we did before. All right. And I'm going to save that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to this chart. And the first thing we have to actually do is change this to a 24, because that is what the optimizer is telling us, 24. And as soon as we've done the 24, we've got to go to the strategy and then disable that one. And then actually load the template for that optimization that we just ran right now. So load, enable, apply, and okay. We are looking at the chart. I'm going to make sure that the data series is actually matching. Okay, so I'm just looking at those results. They're not looking exactly the same, but I'm going to activate that because they are actually showing higher. So 73, 193. So look at that is I suppose that's a better way of, if one specific bar size might not be ideal, this is a way of it looking through a few different bar sizes to find out which is the bar size that has given the best signals. So like this has been this has shown since the open, which is 9 a.m. from when the strategy started. From then on, this has given the best signals. So I suppose it's just yes.
Are you able to put that template in the chat just when it's actually running and you've got time?
Of course. All right, so I'm going to I'll pop that in right now, so it's done, and at least it's there. So quickly second. So documents. So I guess this phase is just giving us a little bit more to work with regards to a bar size and giving us more opportunity to find settings that are giving us the absolute best results and then going from there. So copy and paste. Okay, so I've pasted that into the chat.
So Jason, that first number under parameters, like that 24, that is the ticks to next baseline number that you want to use?
Correct. It's the first setting in the bar size. You see? So 24 and 8. So the strategy analyzer is always going to tell us on there, the first number that you see is the bar size.
Got it.
And the good thing about this is even just after 9 o'clock, even before even 9:30 rolled on, these results would have popped up and they could have actually been used going forward, and then optimizing them every few minutes to make sure we're still on the best setting possible. Just bear in mind too that these bar sizes are going to change throughout the session. So you might get later where a larger bar size is showing better results, and then you just got to be watching out for that in your in the settings, and then making sure that your chart is on the same bar size. So let me run this again and just see where that comes up as. just look at this analytical. I'm just looking at this on another chart also to see what the charts are looking like. 12, 12. 16, 16. 44, 44. So we're right now on that 38.2. The price has broken that. Let's have a look at our trading chart. Okay, so our trading chart is in a position right now. So that's our first position from our trading chart. Okay, and it's up. Yeah, that's our very first position that it's entered in. So look what happened once that price broke that 38.2. It's literally got nothing stopping it all the way until this 50%. So that's the next significant Fibonacci level in play that will have any sort of major resistance to the price. So that's why we also had a huge run over there, because there's literally nothing stopping it. Okay, so that setting is still coming up in our results, the 333 on the 24 bar. Okay, so it's switched to a long again over there. So I'm going to let that continue in the background. And while that's running, I'm going to run some optimizations. So we had a little bit of a breakdown over there, not a breakdown. I mean a sell position. It was like it was predicting the price to be dropping, but that quickly changed over into a long order. Okay, now we're on another sell. We're very close to this 50% Fibonacci now. So this is probably where the price should have a little bit of a drop. Okay, so we're showing a sell. Why am I seeing minus there? I don't understand. The price is below the order.
I have the same issue.
I'm a bit confused. What is maybe it's just the running of the bars are just showing so there's that 50. Okay, we're very, very close to it. We literally are 14 ticks away from that 50 Fibonacci level. So looking at that, again, that's a very significant Fibonacci level. So you're looking at the weekly Fibonacci level. So that's the weekly 50%. Okay, so I'm still running optimization on another screen there. I can bring it across again. I was just moving it away just to see that chart.
Jason, just a quick one. Your A and B settings, are you ranging from 1 to 40 on both?
I am, yes.
And then true for all repaints, right?
And true for all the repaints, yes.
Now, once you've picked your bar size of 24.8, are you just going to leave it as 24.8 and then you don't have to optimize the data series just to save time?
You can do that, but if a better bar size comes up, it's going to
Sure.
present in those settings.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So I'm going to actually leave that for like that and then just keep going from there. So just looking at this, it is showing a few little kinks over there. Still not a huge drawdown up until right now with that losing position. But we came right to the 50, so probably would have been a good idea to do a short only type of a thing close to that 50%. But we'll just let this run and just see what it's looking like. I'm expecting a bounce down here because we came very close to that 50%. And again, there's nothing below it to stop the price. Now, again, for some reason, it's showing $50, $70, $80, but we are so far under the price. I don't know if there's a bit of a lag on something that's causing that. It's like even there, it's just odd. And remember, the bar size that we are using here, there is no false open. So exactly where the last bar ends, the new bar opens. But yeah, if you would like to keep the 24 bar like that and then just don't optimize, you can do that. It's up to you. We're kind of just having a little bit of the price floating around this level at the moment. So looking at a 5-minute chart, that is what the price is looking like. So as you can see, the price failed before at this 50%, this weekly 50%, and even before from 6 a.m. it's actually been struggling to break through that level for quite a while. Might bring up another chart with the indicator on for shadow trading and just see what that is looking like, because that's a good little tool to use also. So indicators, let's give a look. Just busy loading. Okay, so how are your strategies looking on your side, guys? Are you guys having it playing nicely with you?
I've been
Not
manually trading
mine.
it.
I had to shut down, delete things.
Okay, Miss J. All
Go
right.
ahead,
How about
Ed.
Paul?
Yeah, it's all right. It's going okay. Just watching, trying to see if there's a better setting up there.
Okay.
Seems like the A settings are coming through a bit lower.
Is it? Okay.
They're keeping all low, yeah.
All right. That's fine. You can also reduce the amount of numbers that you're optimizing then.
Yeah.
So that looks like what's happening with on my side too. So looking at the optimization, we've got the 3, 2, 6, 2. A lot of those are the lower numbers. So to speed up the optimization, we can also go to the A and B settings over here. And instead of going 1 to 40, because we are working with different bar sizes, we can probably go from 1 to 20 on there and run that. So it basically halved the amount of iterations that the strategy analyzer has to do. So they're probably just coming out to take out some stops, but this should run down to the 38 again. Probably should come down again close to the 38. So I'm just watching what this is doing on another chart also, and I'll pull that up in a moment just to see what that looks like. Okay, maybe not as clear as that. Maybe not as clear. Here's my 5-minute chart with the levels on it and the shadow trading. My momentum line is facing up, but it is below the price. So a little bit in no man's land at the moment between these two numbers, with no real clear direction on the 5-minute chart, that is. I could switch to a tick chart and see what that looks like. But yeah, there's running to that 38. So we kind of get a bit of a perspective of what price is going to be doing, where it's going to be going. I think these fib levels have definitely increased our foresight into what the market is doing. So like over there now, I would be happy to pause this strategy. So we're near the 38.2, more than likely going to get a bounce up, okay, because the prices come right to that 38.2. But, it could also smash right through. But just knowing from a breakout like it has given now, it's more than likely going to bounce off this 38, because this is the 4-hour 38.2. Okay.
Jason, just to offer a different perspective here, I'm using the shadow trader with a brick wall and the Fibonacci levels, which I've discussed with Paul. I'm obviously using the brick wall thing by running optimizations as well.
Yes.
And I'm super happy with this. While you've been going, I've been obviously listening and just taking manually trade. So 2 contracts, and it's I'd be happy. That's $2,200.
Magic. I mean, look at that. If you just trade it between the 50 and the 38.2 in those 2 moves we just saw now, you got a huge amount of ticks in that area. Let me just pop a 16 chart. That'll give me a good little range of what price is doing on the tick chart. Okay, there we go. So on the 16 chart, it basically told us right on top here at that 50% Fibonacci. Look at that. That was the perfect signal to say, sell this bastard all the way down. And that momentum line kept below the price, kept sucking it down, bam, to the 38.2. And now it's actually gone below the 38.2. And this is the first time that the momentum line has caught back up to price. So looking at this, look at the momentum line. So remember, this is exactly where the momentum line is at the current price. So if you scroll back like this and you're watching this chart, in real time, this is exactly what you would have been looking at this chart. So 16 is a very good one to have. So you're looking at this, momentum line is far, far, far from price. And now it's coming and catching up. So right now, you would be out of your short position. So just looking at that move alone there, which we were quite lucky to catch in the automated strategy, it sold at a good time. Just that move over there was 191 ticks. And I mean, that's the power of the shadow trading indicator to obliterate the market if it's used properly. And yeah, sometimes we're going to get it wrong. I mean, like yesterday on the last session, as an example, I was doing a long position. Okay. And what happened is the price just crept up a little bit further than what it normally does. And it took me out my stop. But like over here, it only crept up two or three arrows, which is basically 2 bars, and then dropped. So sometimes I'll take it up a little bit further, but this time we were very fortunate to catch it actually beautifully. Okay, I just want to check something over here. I'll bring my other chart back up again. And I mean, there's another example of the price breaking through the Fibonacci level, coming back up to retest it, and then breaking down. And all these bars are gold, which means the sellers are in control of the price. I mean, it's basically on a plate. It's basically on a plate for you guys to use these tools. And now we've got a looking back at this again, we've got another situation over here where we've got the divergence over here, and now it's just a matter of watching the momentum line. Because if that's going to be facing down, that's going to be the sell. So okay, so we're in shit. I had this in a pause. Okay, that's fine. We had it in a pause. This strategy. I don't know. I was too busy looking at the other chart to see what was going on here. But let me just run this analyzer, because this will tell me which position the strategy would have been in had it been active. And at least I can reactivate it again anyway if I need to. Okay, so took a few more positions. That is the current one over there. So I'm going to go and save that now. So template, save. I'm still happy to use that specific one. So I'm going to go to my 21st, save, yes. Come to my chart again, go strategies, and just deactivate this one. And then go template, load. And then pop on that. I must delete some of these damn templates, saying that there's too many of them. So enable, apply, and okay. So it would have taken a lot. It would have taken one losing position had I had it running. Not the best action around this specific area. So I'm not going to actually press start on that one now. Okay, so let's just move this analyzer out the way, and I'm going to continue to run it in the background. Okay. But what we can do now is we can separate our screen. I'm doing this on this chart, and I'm bringing up a bottom screen over here to see what the price is doing on a larger tick chart. Like this is a 44.44, and there we had obviously that break of that Fibonacci level, coming back to retest it and then breaking down. Here's the 38.2 just below it. Look at this brick wall that's formed on the 12.12. That's a brick wall to tell us, that is the resistance level. And that's just loading the default settings, which is 12.12. So there's actually 2 brick walls in play at the moment. Notice where this brick wall, the price is resisting against there. Momentum line is right up. So again, we had another situation of that signal from the shadow trading tell us that there's a very high chance price is going to reverse. And as soon as the bar started going green, there we go. Buyers are in control of price and they've whacked it up. And we're right on that 38.2 again. And look, a bounce off that 38.2, but our momentum line is still facing up. So probably still showing us that this price is going to be going up. We've had a divergence right now off that. So that's a beautiful little sell on that. And it's moving pretty quickly. But look at that. Again, almost right on that 38.2, as if it's like they know exactly where they're pushing the price, where they're going to sell, where they're going to buy. Those levels are almost taken from the banker's book themselves. Okay, we haven't got any automated strategy running, so I'm just going to run my optimization again and just see if anything better is coming up. But the good thing is, if you're not happy with the results from the automated strategy and you are seeing, you know, actions like this on the chart, you can definitely be taking your manual positions and trading these moves. And it's good to have a few different sizes of your, you know, your bar in play. Like, here is that 16 bar we were looking at just now, the exact same one, where that signal was generated from the shadow trading. It gave you the signal down here, momentum line switched up. It gave you a reversal signal at the Fibonacci level. And look, it swung all the way down, right back to this 38.2. And it's actually broken right through it. So look at that momentum line, the positioning of that. So that still means that we, again, until now, it's starting to show signs of a reversal. Now, you never take the very first signal that this gives you, because it might just be a little weak, you know, a weak little thing, especially where this momentum line is. It's a bit too close to price. Not to say that that will not swing up, but it's just less of a chance of that price swinging up from there, because it hasn't had those, you know, those double dips basically of the price. Generally, the price will come up a little bit and then bounce a little bit, but this momentum line is going to give you a true indication of where more likely that price is going to go. Look at that one there. It bounced off the 61.8. So that's the 5-minute 61.8. So it broke through the 38.2. So it broke through that. But then it came down to the 61.8. Now it's come back to retest that 38.2 that it broke through. And look, it's almost as if by magic it's bounced off that level again. Second while I just do something in the background here. So look at this momentum line now. So you see how the price, you know, went up, came back down. Now we've got a swing in the momentum line's positioning. And we do have a strong Fibonacci level in the way there, so I probably will not be entering any. It's not a good idea to be entering right now as a long. You want to wait and see what this momentum line is doing, and you see that was brilliant to wait that one out, because we were waiting for extra confirmation from that. So back to that 61.8. Now we're coming to the 76.4, which is the hourly. So this is the hourly Fibonacci level, 76.4. So momentum line, look at the momentum line, it's facing down. So we've got to be very careful. You know, we don't want to be entering long positions when this momentum line is basically following the price down, because that just means that this price is still going to be, you know, trading down. You know, it's unlike earlier where we actually had this momentum line, you know, start facing up and deviate considerably from price. See, now the momentum line is starting to deviate a lot more from price. So this is definitely shaping up for a, you know, this is your signal to go long. And the same thing is basically presenting on the 16-16 chart. So looking at the 16-16 chart, there we go. So our momentum line is showing a huge upswing at the moment. We're getting these divergences at the bottom. Even though the sellers are still currently in control of price, the buyers are about to take over. So we've got to just clear the 61.8. So between two little Fibonacci levels here, that's probably why we're not seeing major direction yet. But you can guarantee when one of those breaks, it's going to fly through that. And we were supposed to be focusing on automated, but that's, I mean, this is a beautiful thing to watch actually happening on the charts. Now notice how this momentum line is now facing down. So this is where we've got to be out of a position in a long. So you want to be out of long positions when this momentum line is definitely shifting to a downwards direction. Even though we're getting divergences over here, this momentum line is giving us the true indication of what's happening with this price. Again, I'm just running some optimizations over here just to see if I can activate anything on my top chart. So the price is coming up to the 38.2 and the 61.8 on the longer term charts. So that was exactly where we were having the price action yesterday at about the same time. At the same time yesterday, we were at this point. This exact same point. This is where we were yesterday, where that price just crept down a little bit further than I was expecting it to. Okay, so here is this optimization. So I'm going to save this one, yeah. So template save, and I'm going to pop this on to the trading chart now. So strategies. Enable, and I'm going to go template load. Come on, load 21. Enable, apply, okay, and start. Okay, so that's going to act on the next signal that's going to come through on this. On this. Not sure why the coloring of the bars have changed. Let me just see what is going on there. So strategies. Something was a little bit out of whack there. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm going to reactivate that. Apply and OK. So these settings have actually been going pretty well for this whole session. They've actually been going extremely well this whole time. Had I just left them going, we obviously had this beautiful run up earlier and this beautiful run down, then I kind of paused it. But even since then, just leaving those very settings running, they would have produced some incredible results just ongoing on that. Look at those beautiful runs. That was the last buy. Beautiful run up. Let's leave that over there. I wanted to bring up the 1616 chart we were just looking at a few minutes ago. And notice how that actually went. So we were watching it in real time over here. We were watching it in real time doing this. And it was just creeping a little bit lower. It was not at these very strong levels. Now we get in the momentum line really starting to shoot up. But we still between these two levels. But now look at this momentum line now. Look how it's shooting up now for the sky. And that is your point where you want to be jumping in, because that's where that's going to be pulling that price up. So that signal was presenting itself all the way from back here on these divergences. So that's when the signal really came into effect. Yes, it did drop another, 66 ticks, and kept giving that signal that the price was likely to reverse, and gave us some more arrows at the bottom here. But it was only really at this stage, at the real bottom of the price, where it showed its true power of reversal, where that momentum line started shooting up. And there we've got an arrow at the 38.2. So you see, notice how the price flies between strong Fibonacci levels. Doesn't really hesitate too much. Kind of it just runs to those levels, does a little switchbacks, runs to the next strong level. Okay, let's just see what the strategy is doing over here. So the Fibonacci levels are not built into the analytical strategy. So that is possibly an enhancement that I can make down the track if I can figure out how to do that. And that will prevent the price from entering a long position when it's within a certain amount of ticks from a strong Fibonacci level. So that could be another way of making it even more powerful, to take those positions. So here we're at the 61.8 of the 5 minute. Not a very strong level. I mean, the next strong level is the 76.4. That's actually that's the hourly Fibonacci level. Again, it's just making decisions on its own based on the optimization that we've put in. Okay. So still very, very solid results from the strategy on top. The same settings are still present on the optimizer. So the exact same settings that we started off on the session are still actually running as the best possible settings. Looks like a nice little run up there to that 38.2. So I'll increase the size of that so we can have a look at that. Let's see what it does around this, this level over here. So we're right on that 38.2. It's almost like it got zapped for a split second, for a moment there. But, you know, it's been tested a few times. So it's been tested over here to the left. It's been tested again over here. And that was not too long ago that it was retested. So, you know, it broke through earlier, came up, and now look, it's smashed through because there's literally nothing stopping it. It's probably going to come back and retest that level just to say, I got you. And then more than likely bounce up. But let's just see how that goes. So the strategy is still performing beautifully. So probably not a very substantial, important level, this one at the moment, because look how the price just broke through above. It's like it doesn't really care about it. There is a bit of inconsistency around that level, so maybe that is a bit of importance around it, because it doesn't want to, they don't know exactly where they want to push it from here. I don't know what the brick wall is looking like. I mean, there's a brick wall over there. So that's where the current brick wall is for these optimized settings. That is the brick wall. Okay. So I guess we're seeing a nice little bounce off there. If we look at our 16-16 chart, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look what the 16-16 chart is telling us. Well, what do you know? It's given us some divergences over there. Momentum line is with the price right now. It did give us that arrow down with those divergences. So we may even come back to the 61.8, which is right over here. The price kind of faltered at that earlier. So we're back there again right now. But remember, the next strong level is actually the 76.4. So we came literally within a few ticks of that. 76.4. Or 4 or 5 ticks at that specific time. Okay, so let me look at my optimization and just see what that is giving me. So we're getting a lot of play around that number. You see that how the price action is around this level. It's kind of just struggling at that level to find a direction. So I'm going to just maximize this again. And you can see over here how the price just came close to the 76.4 on 2 occasions and bounced up from there. Yeah, okay. 61.8. So again, there's nothing really stopping it. If it breaks above the 61.8, there's nothing stopping it going back up to that 38.2 again. Bit of indecision around the 5 minutes 61.8. So that's where it's bouncing now. See, the price is bouncing between the 61.8 of the 5 minute and the 76.4 of the hourly. So right now, I mean, if you were in your live trades and you just wanted to get out of this, you could just pause your strategy around here. And get some and just see what's going on. You can switch, you can look at your other charts, what your other charts are telling you. So I'm just getting a bit of a lag here for some reason. So normally the hourly Fibonacci levels will be obviously stronger than the 5 minute ones. So this level over here would generally be more powerful or more of a resistance than this one over here. But also judging from what it did earlier in the price, we'll see what happens. So we had some inconsistency in price around this exact same level earlier. So if you look on our left of our chart, this area here, we had some zigzagging of trades, and it looks like it's transferred to this area here, a bit of zigzagging of trades. So, you know, when you get this type of thing, just either pause your strategy and then wait for a better setup that comes along. And also definitely keep running your optimizations in the background. So again, we've broken through the 76.4 now. So that proved to be the weaker level between the two. And now we've got the 38.2 below that. Which is our weekly. So that's the weekly 38.2 level, the blues. So having a look at our 1616 chart, this is what that is looking like. So it's starting to shape up to tell us that this is a possible reversal point coming back up again. See how it's given us these divergences over here, a lot of divergences, and we just, yeah. But again, look, the price is very close now to the momentum line. So it's not a real clear indicator of where that is going right at this moment. But nicely, it's basically shot up. So it basically failed to consolidate below the 76.4 over there. And it got very scared of the 38.2. So it shot above the 76.4 and is running right up again. So yeah, it's quite interesting. So again, if you're in a long position over here and you were trading your live funds, this will be a point to pause your strategy over there, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen around that level. It's definitely shown earlier that it is a contentious point. But could just be another point where it's going to drop again, so they bring the price up and down between these levels. So it looks like it's consolidated above the 38.2, which probably means that this is going to go up nicely. Obviously, it hasn't gone that far above, but looking at our other charts, okay, this is our 1616. Now notice how on this chart the momentum line is with the price. So being with the price, we can't really say for certain whether this is going to go up or down because the momentum line is with the price. So it's kind of running its true course at the moment with the price. And it will tell us soon enough whether the price is more likely to go up or down based on how far that momentum line deviates away from the price in real time. So in that type of uncertain situation, running your strategy, I would not be in any positions right now because we are literally at the cusp of any direction swing. But if we start seeing the bars predominantly gold, we know the sellers will be back in control. So that's another good way of seeing where we are, what the price is doing. Looks like the buyers are still just holding on to this. Okay, so my optimization, I've got to just run that again. What is the time? I don't even know. 10:30. Okay. So 10:30, time to run optimization. We've had a few losing positions in a row there on this. So like I said earlier, it would have been better to pause the strategy around contention like we are seeing over here. So catch those beautiful runs like we saw earlier up to those Fibonacci levels. But when you're at those Fibonacci levels, because there's more uncertainty, it's a good place just to stay out the market for that moment until you're getting good direction. Could also be a point now where the settings are getting tired and they're not in the heartbeat of the market anymore. So that's why we run our optimization and we just see what that is giving us. And if anything is coming up on there that can help us with settings that are more in tune with the market. Okay, so at the moment, those ones are still showing as the best settings, although, the drawdown has come up a little bit. So it was 200 and it went to 400, now it's on 700. So even though the settings are still very high, the drawdown has gone up a little bit, which is obviously evident from these few losing positions that were over here. But overall, these settings are still predominantly good. So this is where you can also switch. You can start looking down the list. So you can look at perhaps the second setting on the list and see what that looks like. Look at the third one, just look at a few different settings. But these are also showing high drawdown. So I wouldn't be switching to any of those just yet. I would probably just be staying out the market at this very instance and be looking for opportunities manually. So you don't particularly want to be entering or starting a strategy where you've got the last few positions showing as losing positions. So that's going to drop your percentage considerably on your following trades because they might be running at a loss. Not to say they definitely will, but there's probably a higher chance of them running at a loss than running at a profit because they've consistently shown over the last few trades that things might be changing slightly. But by now, you know, you guys should have all had some really, really good runs and be done for trading anyway. You don't have to trade a specific period. You just have to trade until you have made your goal for the day, and then you're done. You don't have to sit here for a specific time. All right. So no major fireworks at the moment. We kind of are just floating between two levels. You know, you can be looking at like, you know, a scalping type of a situation where you are entering limit order positions on these bars, predicting where the price is going to go up or down. You can enter little 16 to 20 tick trades. I'm doing that. So look at this momentum line. It's facing up, but remember the momentum line is below the price. So this is not showing us like a clear run of the price going up. And if the price does go up, it just wasn't a very strong signal from the shadow trading. That could just be a situation where they are pushing the price up, and but the indicator is not really picking that up. It's still picking up. The price is more likely to drop than be rising. So there it bounced off the 38.2 over there and is facing down. So sellers have now taken over control. So the buyers took over a little bit there to the 38.2, sold off everything and dropping down again. Yeah, and just back to the 61.8. So yeah, a little bit of handball at the moment. So while that optimization is running, let's have a look at this at the chart and see what this is doing. So here is the price at the 76.4. Now, it's not showing me a clear bounce off of it on my shadow trading indicator. It's not showing that at all, which generally means it's probably going to break through. Oh, okay, so there we go. There we got that first indication that there might be a bit of a change of the guard. So those arrows, you know, once they draw on the chart, they are going to stay there. They're not going to change. So the moment that arrow is going to appear at the close of that bar. So the moment that bar closes, it popped that arrow in play. So very, very often, you know, as you can see, those arrows are very close indicative of what that price is going to do. And it might not happen absolutely immediately. Obviously there it happened immediately that it shot up. But it doesn't always happen. You might have 1, 2, or 3 arrows in a row before that price goes up. So there we're at this 38.2 again. So again, just coming and touching that. And look how that shows on the 1616 chart. It just shows that bar breaking, forming a new bar at that level. So, you know, once you've got your Fibonacci levels on your chart, your odds and your chances of making accurate trading decisions are definitely increased tenfold, because you can definitely trade around these key points. And especially when you're seeing arrows and you're seeing divergences around those levels, it just increases your chances or your options for entering positions. Especially, I mean, predicting reversals is probably the most difficult thing for anybody to do in trading. So, you know, think of the price as like a steam train. You know, what's basically happening is that price is coming to a still and reversing, and then going the other direction full speed. So to predict that turn in price, I think there's very, very, very few people or tools out there that can actually predict that pretty consecutively or pretty often. And if everybody did know how to do it, then you know, it'll be a whole different story. At least the DTB members are, you know, have the option to master them and at least identify them. So again, if you were in a live position right now, I would probably just pause this over here, because a bit too late, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen right at this moment. Yes, our other charts. So it's good to have a few different screens on the go, so you can look at what other indicators are telling you, what other charts are telling you. So by looking at the chart that we had earlier that we were looking at, I think it's behind this one. There we go. So this is telling us what's happening on the smaller time frame. So depending on what session you're working on, like, you know, this is a 12-12 bar that we're looking at over here. So there's that. Obviously the 16-16, which is showing us, you know, that the buyers have taken over a bit over here, but we were at that 38 level. So momentum line not giving us an absolutely clear indication of a reversal point. And obviously our 44-44, which is now also showing us what's happening over there. So looking at the 44-44, so I've positioned the indicator perfectly. So on the longer term 44-44 chart, you can see how this momentum line has crept up. It's been creeping up, creeping up, creeping up all the time, even when the price had dropped. So when the price was at the 76.4 earlier, and even coming right to the 38.2, it was still much higher in the price. So look how the momentum line had risen, and the price had actually fallen. So this was giving us an indication even back here that the buyers are, you know, in control of this price, and there's a high chance that this is going to be rising. So just looking at a few different charts, you know, but I like to get entries on the smaller charts. So looking at the smaller charts, looking for entries. Now, this is not showing a beautiful entry location for it, even though the longer chart is saying it's an entry location. So looking at a smaller chart, can give you the entries. So back over here would have been the entry. If you were looking at this chart and a 44 chart, that would have given you this entry nice and low down here, and you could stay in it for a longer run. So this, on the smaller chart, this is just showing us a bounce off this brick wall coming down. So we're currently between two brick walls right now in the price. Oh, it broke through the bottom one, which is good. So that's a nice little run down again. More than likely going to probably come to the 61.8 or the 5 minutes if it reaches that. So there is of the 61.8. Here's the 76.4. So this is where it struggled earlier to work at. It broke below the 61.8, came and retested the 61.8. So that's interesting. Let's see what it does when it comes down. Again, you know, if you're trading on your live account, you would probably be pausing at this stage too, because we haven't got, you know, we close to a Fibonacci level. It could come and break through it, but it's also a very good chance it might come and bounce off it. So that's how you can definitely trade these these longer runs in price to be able to between these Fibonacci levels, because there's quite a lot of ticks. I mean, there's quite a lot of ticks between levels, like these two levels here, this 38.2 and the 76.4. I mean, you're looking at 109 ticks, and if you can even just trade a part of that, it's a decent little, it's a decent move in price. So you see, it was right of me there. Pause the strategy around where I did, because that Fibonacci level was coming into play, and I didn't want to risk being in a short position and it bounces up, which is basically exactly what it did. Again, on our 16-16 chart, which has given us the best signal so far, we got an arrow over there, came up, hit the bands, and now is coming back down again. But again, the momentum line has basically stayed with price the whole time. But clearly we can see that the sellers are in control of the price. So when the bars are gold, remember that the sellers are in control. So you're looking for sell positions predominantly in that type of a situation. So a sell position might be a failed rise of price, and then you take one of the bars coming down. We are right on the 38.2. Look, we had an arrow off that 38.2. So so this is the weekly. So we're at the weekly 38.2, and we're also at the monthly levels. So that's these two levels that we're looking at here. These are the weekly and monthly levels. It's 10 to 11, so I'm not going to run any more optimizations and things like that. So we can just monitor what's happening over here with this. But isn't it incredible how we can see, you know, this price running between these fib levels and reacting around them. So we can probably even switch. So if I remove the strategy from here, and I just increase the size of this bar. So let's have a look at a like a 195 and a 1 to see what it's looking like on the longer term charts. So this is what I call a flat baseline chart. And this also gives opportunities to be trading the price. There's a lot of text, unfortunately. I'll remove that in a moment. Let's do that. So this also, gives you opportunities to look at what the price is doing and give you scalping opportunity to trade the price back to the baseline. Obviously looking at your other charts that you have in play. So you wouldn't want to be looking for a buy position on a run down like we saw over here. So this is the high of the price earlier, which is 15,053, which is basically up over here. So looking at this chart on the left, if you were looking to trade that price back to the baseline, you wouldn't really have been in any position. So looking at in real time, this is how it would have looked. So momentum line is below the price, momentum line is with the price. You're not looking at any long positions at all yet, and the price broke the baseline anyway. So you would not have had any losing positions on this specific candle that broke to a new baseline. But all these other little deviations that you are seeing over here of the price, they would have been nicely evident in on your other chart, looking at those pullbacks of that shadow trading, giving you nice signals to trade that price back. And some of these are decent little runs. Some of these are, you're looking at 100 ticks. So there's quite a few of these little things that happen. And this is going to happen all day, every day on all different charts. Okay, so right now we're at the 50% of the 5-minute chart. So that's basically our 5-minute chart. So look at all those levels from all the different time frames that are built in here. So that's where we are right now. If I go center price on scale, just so we can see things a bit better. You can actually do that too. And see what price is doing. So there's nothing really stopping this. There's nothing stopping this price from coming all the way down to the 23.6. So there's a lot of space over here. Look at this huge space to the next significant level. So it'll be interesting to see what this is going to be doing, because from here, it's basically got a room of about 173 ticks. That's nothing's really going to stop it to come down that distance. Now it's not like the top section of the bar. So if you look at this section over here, there's quite a few Fibonacci levels in play over here. So you've got the 61.8, the 38, 76. You've got quite a few levels in play over here, whereas not too much below. So, that basically tells me that if I was going to be entering a position right now and I was going to predict whether the price was going to, if I was going to enter a position on this baseline right over here, and I was going to predict a move of 100 or 200 tick move, so that'll be 200 ticks. And, this will be, I think somewhere over here. Let's just see how long, I don't know. Let's just see how many ticks this is away from the baseline. Let's have a look. So 200 ticks is about over, it's just on this 38.2. So if I were entering a manual trade right now and I wanted to have a one position with a 200 tick stop and a 200 tick target, that is what I would do in that direction. Just because the price has less resistance coming down than it does have of going up. So what percentage would I put on that? I would say probably about a 70%. So what you would do here is you would look for a signal on here to tell you that the price is going to be going down. So at the moment, it's showing the price going up. Momentum line is up. So when would you look for a signal? So we're on the baseline right now. So if you were entering a position over here, that's the baseline. And if you put the stop over here, okay, and this target, come on, over here. So that is what that is saying. So you can obviously look at a signal chart to give you a good jump in of that price. So at the moment, it's still showing on the smaller time frame that it's going to be rising. So even temporarily, it may be rising. Seems to be struggling just to go up a bit from here, but you never know. Looking at the 5-minute chart. So this is the 5-minute chart over here. We've got, let's have a look at the 5-minute chart. So we've had, obviously, these are the bars of the price so far today. Let me bring up my shadow trading, see what that looks like. We've got a few divergences at the bottom here, but the sellers are still in control. The price has closed below the 61.8 and the 38, touching the 50%, possibly coming back to retest the 61.8. So that is where we currently are right now. So I will review this position tomorrow and see where it actually ended up, whether it was a successful one or not. So I mean, at best, should I say at worst, you've got a 50-50 risk reward, and even a chance really on that specific position. So if I move this out the way, there's the price is either going to go up to go back to this baseline over here, or it's going to come down to form a new baseline. So that's what the price is going to do, and that's what it's basically always done. So if you go and if I've got to break at end of day on, I think I do. It's either going to go and do that. So it's either going to go and return to that previous baseline, or it's going to go and form a new baseline. So just the probability of it coming down to me is a little bit stronger than it going up because of all the resistance levels in the way. Good. I'll leave the call over there, and we'll see you on tomorrow. We'll start the session at the same time and go from there.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys, and I shall chat to you